Hi, welcome to Extraordinary Moments with Anita. How are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you.
Fantastic. So, could you tell us your full name and what you do?
My name is Yugita Hansraj, and I am a healthcare aide, an author, a grandmother, a mother. So,
That's a lot. Okay, so you have a story of abuse, right? And quite a few people can identify with you or with abuse. And I thought, why not have you come share your story so that one or two people can learn? So, if you don't mind, could you start from the very beginning, the genesis of it all?
so it started with my parents seeing and what happened in my household when I was a very young child. And then because it's something that you learned, it traveled with me in my relationships. So that's what happened with my children's father. Um, but now we are in a better place. We've done the work. We've gotten to a point where we're both amicable. We could be in the same room. I have forgiven him for what has happened. Um, Took him a couple times to apologize before I could actually fully accept it. But I have, and it's gotten to a point where we're family still, no matter what. But yeah, that's where it started from.
So, what exactly happened? If you could just break it down for us. So,
Um, there was a lot of, well, first of all, I was a young mother. I had my daughter when I was 19, and then 3 years later, had my son. And um, being a young person, you don't really know what is what and what you should be expecting and what you should not be tolerating. It was not always bad. At the beginning, it was good and it was really well. Um, but once the pregnancy of my son happened, that is when things started to shift within himself and within us as well. And it just became very toxic very afterwards, verbally, physically, mentally. It happened, all of it.
wow. So, how did that affect you mentally?
To this day, I could say it still does actually affect me in ways. Let's just say, for example, if we get into a heated moment or argument, or I see a certain way of how he moves and so forth, if he's around, um, it does trigger me still, because then it will be a reflection. It's like a flashback of what I went through, right? But there is where the therapy has happened and worked and so forth, to know that that is not me. I had no cause of it, and that he has to do the work within himself. It has nothing to do with me. Um, so therefore, it's just knowing and regathering myself again, of knowing that it's not me. So it's a daily battle.
Mhm. You did mention that you work with the hospital and things like that, and
Mhm.
did you will you say that that influenced your choice of career in any way?
No, I actually always wanted to be a sportscaster. I was the black sheep of the family. I was very athletic. You go to any of my cousins and so forth now, none of them were like that. Down to my sister, not that athletic. She swam. Literally, I played every sport besides swimming.
Wow.
So, um, I wanted to be a sportscaster. I wanted to be on the sidelines of the Dallas Cowboys,
Mhm.
taking over Pam Oliver's job and taking over her changing room and her dressing room. That
You were
was my
ambitious.
goal. That was my goal. I watched football a lot with my stepfather once I had moved with him and my mom, and that's where I wanted. That's what I wanted to do.
Mhm. Wow. So, you did mention few days ago about being in another relationship that also but abusive. Could you tell us a bit about that as well?
Yes. It was with somebody that I was friends with, and we became a couple. We were in a relationship for about 9 years, and it became very toxic after years of like about 4 years, 4 to 5 years. It started to be very toxic. Um, it was more so a lot of mental and emotional, and again physical abuse. Um, it did happen in front, not so much in front of my kids, like it happened when they were younger with their dad, but it did happen enough where the respect that I could see that my kids had, they had lost for him.
Mhm.
And it took me a while to leave it, obviously, because I stayed for almost 9 years. Um, and that was due to being embarrassed of being in another failed relationship.
Because I was going to ask, why did you wait till 9 years?
Yeah. You know what? Like, I really fought. I'm a person that will be there and deal with it and try and look for the good in people and see that rather than me being able to leave a certain situation before. And it takes me very much a person who I am. I take and I take and I take until I cannot take anymore. And it is something that I've had to work on through therapy as well. And that was more so through recognizing that it's not an embarrassment, and it's okay, and not to be silent, because I know a lot of it was silence, especially in my second relationship. It was very silent of what I was going through. Um, the first relationship with my kid's dad, family members knew, but they didn't, like, especially on his side, knew and just like didn't assist in the ways I thought they would assist with.
So, what helped you to cope in those 9 years with the second person, and I don't know how long the first you stayed in the first
I
one?
was with my kid's dad for 6.5 years.
Okay, so what helped you to cope while you were there?
Um, what made me cope is like my children. That was my biggest thing, is making sure that they were okay. Um, I buried myself in my kids. My son played multiple um, rep games. So he started in football, then he went into basketball, constantly taking them out, spending time with them. My daughter ran track. She did things like that. Then she liked to sing. She was part of the Be Beautiful Girls group within Hamilton, where they help young girls identify their self confidence with themselves, nourish their talents, and like it was just a be who you are um, event, and that was with one of Hamilton's very own Queen C as well. And yeah, like I just indulged myself within community and making sure my kids were very involved with things.
Would you say that the abuse affected them in any way?
Oh, it has, definitely. You could see that to this day. It has affected them. And I carry that weight with me because I stayed for so long. But yeah, it has, I could tell it has. Um, Trusting people does not come very easy at all. They, especially for another relationship, if I'm in, or even with our own family members, the trust is not there. My son and my daughter have a very tight relationship. Um, they'll ride for each other. It's them and nobody else, and that's the way it's been, because it's been for with the three of us for so long. And but yeah, that's it's has affected them. We've talked about it, but still, kids nowadays, it's very hard for them to open up, especially young men. And that's why I'm very heavy in doing a community event that I do as well, and assisting athletes with opening up about fears and being responsible athletes within the community and responsible role models for the next generation coming up behind them.
Tell me what you do in, in that community, right? And what made you go into it? Is it to protect your son, or it's...
So I've always wanted to give back to the community, and I just didn't know how. I was very athletic. I loved basketball a lot. I also played touch football. I also ran track, did cross country, volleyball, you name it. I actually did it. Um, Even badminton. I've always wanted to give back to the community of which I grew up. But this, what I do, is called Rise Up, United Against Violence Within Our Community. It's a basketball all-star game that we do. We don't include Toronto, but sorry, Toronto, you guys have enough of your events, so forth. This is to shine the athletes who are great in doing in community within themselves. They are role models for within what they do. They are great. They don't have to be total A students, but they have to be like their grades. They can't be skipping classes. They can't be, their grades have to be good and so forth. And majority of my all stars are going to the next level. Whether they are from a single parent home, a foster home, they are from a two parent home, they have made it or they're about to make it. So we gather them from Hamilton, Burlington, Oakville, Halton, and Brantford as well area, and they are actually nominated by their team or a family member who follows us on Instagram. And we are now in our 5th year starting doing this. And it is also in the memory of one of my friends, two of my friends that I've known that has actually passed away tragically. And it's in their memory to keep their memory alive because the both of them loved basketball.
Okay. Now, you talked about you being an author. You want to tell us about your book?
An author, yes, I am a poetry writer. It's called Her Thoughts, Her Words, and it is self-published on Amazon. It's a honestly, it is, and it was something that assisted me on making sure that I healed myself. It was my reason, and it was my way of healing in from my last relationship. I used to write poetry when I was much younger, and I stopped. And I could tell you that within those 2 relationships, I lost myself. And when I started writing again, I found myself again. I found what I loved. I invested myself within nature, walking again, just taking those deep breaths outside, enjoying the sunshine, and doing stuff for myself now. Like that's what it was. Going to the gym, working out, and everything. So in my book, you'll have, in the first book, it is a roller coaster ride. You'll have one moment you are high, next moment you are low, next moment you're feeling angry. It's all about the relationships and going ups and downs and your emotional roller coaster of being healing and healing yourself again and still believing in love and finding out who you are. And that is an emotional roller coaster in itself, especially after heartbreak.
Would you say that writing that book was therapeutic?
It definitely was. I wasn't planning to, I was just about to put it on Amazon and just leave it alone. And my cousin got whiffed of and reading a few of the poems, and she was like, there's no way you're not having a book launch. We're going to be doing it at my spa. And she's
jumping somewhere.
That's exactly what she said. She's like, there's no way my cousin just is writing a book again and she is not having a book launch. So like my cousin ended up hosting it at her spa, medical spa that she has on concession, and did that. And we sold a lot of books, and a lot of it came from the States as well. And I had somebody buy it in the UK and things like that. So I was like, it got around. It's not like bestseller. It's a bestseller for me, though. right? And now I'm on the verge of writing two other poetry books, which is due to release this year as well.
You want to give us a hint
Ooh.
of what the second book is about?
The second book is called Late Night Thoughts, and we are talking about, again, still healing, still believing.
Healing is a journey, it's a process, right?
Exactly. And still believing in love, but it's also those late night thoughts. And ladies, even men, we could admit to ourselves we have those thoughts. We're human. What ifs, right? It's the what ifs. This is how I'm feeling. This is how I feel. And it is thoughts of like, you would think about having that person, how you want them to make you feel, how you want them to touch you, how that emotional connection, the mental connection through different ways, as well. So it's technically literally the next step of from my first book. You could literally say it's a trilogy that's happening. The third book, it's called Her Joy, that's coming, and that is the transitioning from the late night thoughts and actually rediscovering yourself within your faith. So it's kind of like a big jump. And that is also a dedication to my family, who is majority of my family is still Hindu. And but then it's also my journey through, again, it's a journey. Life is a journey with many different chapters. And this, all three books, you're seeing a lot of different chapters within my life. And um, the joy is finding, but it also identifies the church hurt that I've been through, um, to finding and being honorable to my Hinduism side of my family and honoring them as well, because that is still who I am. That was part of me, and down to now who I am as a person as well. So now in my walk with Christ is at the same time. So it's literally, if you end up getting all three, you'll kind of actually understand who I am as a person for now.
Exactly. Hopefully, when you live to be maybe 100, you get another maybe 5 more copies of.
You may just get a whole novel this time.
That sounds good. So, for someone who is watching and has gone through abuse or is currently going through abuse, listening to you, what would you say to them?
It's okay to that the feelings that you're feeling of an embarrassment and not wanting to leave and wanting to fight for your family. You're not wrong for that. But look at yourself at the same time, because you're not loving yourself at the same time. You're not giving yourself justice. You're not giving yourself the love that you want, to be given to you. You're not giving it to yourself. And that was something that I had to realize. I was giving so much love and attention. I lost myself. I was at my heaviest when, in my second relationship. Girl, I never weighed so much in my life. And looking back at my pictures and so forth back then, I was like, who is that person? So look at yourself and don't lose yourself, but also ask and seek help. And it may be my seeking help came from a pastoral bishop, that helped me, and our therapy was through Zoom at that time, and it helped me tremendously. And thankfully, to this day, he still checks up on me, even if those days that I need to send a message and say, "Are you available for 10 minutes?" and he'll call me, right? And those are the things that you need, because you need community. And if you don't have community, you're not alone, because that is something that you need. So it's okay. And it may not be a form from family, it may be actual strangers that help you get through it. But if you're silent, we can't help you. Yeah.
It's said that a problem half said is half solved. I don't know if that's how they put it.
If a mouth is closed, nothing can be fed.
Exactly.
So it's literally the same thing. Yeah, you have to like be able to scrounge up the strength and actually ask for the help, because if you have children within the relationship. And this goes for men and women, because let me tell you, women are out there doing also the same thing.
Yeah.
Women are abusing men at the same time. It's not just men abusing women. But both of them need to understand that you need to be able to seek that help and ask for the help.
Okay, that's for those who are still in the relationship.
Mhm.
But for those who had summoned the courage to leave, right?
Mhm.
They're out of the relationship right now, but they kind of confused, wondering, okay, so what do I do now? Where do I go now? Is it possible to find love again? And stuff like that. What would you say to them?
So after a relationship, and especially an abusive relationship, you're going to feel hurt. You're going to feel lost. You're going to ask yourself, why me? Why was I wrong? Did I have to leave? Was it me? Maybe it was me, right? Like, because that's what happens when it's definitely a mental and an emotional issue with abuse. They play with your mind, right? And it goes again, vice versa. Men and women go through that. And the thing is, you have to take that time for yourself and make sure that you're understanding that there is time that you need to reflect for yourself to find who you are again. Like, again, my writing brought me back to who I was. Going on those walks and taking a moment, either regardless if you are a Christian faith or believe in God or you believe in anything, like, take a moment and breathe. Like, in Hamilton here, we have many waterfalls. I took trips to waterfalls. I walked through. I sat there. Looked up into the sky with the sun beaming down, and just breathed. And, like, know that you made it, that you're still worth it.
Because a lot of people actually die in abuse.
Yes.
You made it. Coming out, it's a big win.
It's a big thing. And knowing that you are still worth it. And there is somebody out there that is willing to love you through your struggle of becoming who you are again. There is somebody that's out there to love you. And as long as you start loving yourself again, that you will find that person. Just take time, but get to know who you are. Within whichever faith that you're in, you have to find who you are again and be rooted in that. And within your little community, you don't need a tribe. Honestly, you don't need 20, 30 people coming at your door. You just need you need maybe a few friends, and they will help you through it.
Okay, so what would be your final message to anyone?
Ooh.
What's your final reflection, your final message to just anyone who happens to be watching this video?
Stay true to you. That is my motto for years. Anybody that has known me for many years, and I'm saying over 20 years, it's been my motto. Stay true to you. And that will get you far.
What a way to end. Thank you so much for being on.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.